Hi everyone, hope you're all okay. We're back with Jeremy Strong and Mrs. Hudson. Let's see what Nicholas sees today because the chapter is called I See More Than I'm Supposed to. I don't know whether I want to know, but shall we find out? Things have been quiet for a couple of days, but you know what they say about the calm before the storm. The doorbell rang this morning, and when Dad opened it, he found a giant teddy sitting on the doorstep. Dad walked right around it twice. He even poked it several times, but it didn't move. It just sat there smiling. "Where did this pop up from?" asked Dad, completely mystified. "There's a label on the ribbon round its neck," pointed out Mum, trying to read it. Dad let out a groan. "I might have known. It's for my mother. It's from Mad, Bad and Arthritic next door." "It must have cost a fortune," sighed Mum. "Lancelot must love her an awful lot." Dad shot a furious glance at Mum. "Get it inside before the neighbours see. I can't think of anything more embarrassing than having a giant teddy bear sitting on your doorstep." "What about having a husband who sings very loudly into a karaoke machine or keeps pet alligators? Don't you think that's embarrassing?" I kept quiet. I could tell this argument might get personal and nasty if Mum and Dad weren't careful. I just kept my fingers crossed and hoped they'd find something different to quarrel about. And they did. Getting the teddy bear upstairs to Granny's room proved to be a major task. The bear was very heavy. Mum hauled and Dad pushed as they both came up with quite a few interesting words between them that I can't write down, or the paper might burst into flames. There we go, there's a picture of them trying to get the teddy up the stairs. It really is a giant teddy bear. Anyway, eventually they got the teddy to Granny's room and she was delighted. It was quite pathetic, really. You would have thought my Granny was about 6 years old, not 62. "Oh, it's beautiful," she squealed and threw herself at the bear and began covering it with slobbery kisses. "This is disgusting," muttered Dad. "Look at her, a grown Granny reduced to a bubbling baby. This is really sad." "I think it's rather sweet," Mum murmured. "Oh, please," groaned Dad in disbelief. "Fetch me the sick bucket, quick." Dad locked the door and stamped back downstairs, leaving Granny cuddling her giant teddy and muttering coochie-coos into its ears. It was about half an hour later, when we were sitting downstairs having breakfast, that I suddenly saw a face swinging across the patio doors. And yes, I do mean a face. Lancelot's face, to be exact, upside down. He swung slowly from one side of the door frame to the other, with his ponytail flopping about, staring at us, making frantic signs at me to pretend I hadn't seen anything. This was a bit difficult because by this time I was almost choking on my toast. "Are you all right, Nicholas?" asked Mum anxiously. "Looks as if he's seen a ghost," grunted Dad. "I'm fine," I squeaked, as I watched Lancelot swing lower and lower until I could see he had Granny's bedsheets tied around his ankles. There we go. There he is. She was upstairs lowering him out of the bedroom window. And then the truth hit me like a bulldozer. Lancelot had been inside that teddy. No wonder it was heavy. What a character! He had smuggled himself in and now they were making their escape. This revelation threw me into a bit of a panic. Should I tell Dad? Should I tell Mum? Should I keep quiet? Lancelot reached the ground, curled himself up and untied his ankles. He got to his feet, beckoned to Granny and grinned as he held the sheet rope steady. "Would you like some more toast, Nicholas?" asked Mum. Was that a yes or a no? My tongue had stuck solid, and no wonder. I was staring at Granny's knickers, swinging around outside the window. She had tucked her dress into the top of her knickers, and now her legs were crisscrossing down the sheet like a big black pair of scissors. I swallowed hard, tried to speak, and managed to produce some strange gargling noise. You know, the sort of sound you expect from a deep space alien when you're first introduced. "You look as if you've seen something ghastly," Mum observed, and I thought it was a good thing she didn't know I was staring at Granny's knickers, or she'd probably go into orbit herself. Granny reached the ground safely and untucked her dress. She blew me a kiss, and seizing Lancelot by the hand, she tiptoed away round the side of the house. I was left sitting at the breakfast table, wondering what to do. Dad went upstairs, still being all grumpy. It was very unlike Dad to be so grumpy. Normally my dad was always making jokes and laughing and larking about and driving people mad. I'd never seen him so moody. I know he wasn't happy about Granny and Lancelot, but I don't know why he wasn't happy. What was wrong with Granny and Lancelot liking each other? OK, so they were being horribly soppy, but why shouldn't they like each other? I went into the kitchen and asked Mum. "It's a good question, Nicholas," she answered. "You don't remember your grandfather. He died when you were very small. He was a lovely man, full of laughter, and a bit like your dad, I suppose. It was sad when he died. I don't think we ever thought that Granny might one day want to get married again. It's come as a bit of a shock to your father. He thought she was quite happy with us, and she's been happy with us. But now there's Lancelot next door, and your father hasn't got used to it yet. And, of course, you know what your dad thinks about next door. The thought of his mother marrying one of the Tugs." Mum began to laugh. "What do you think?" I asked. "I hope they'll be very happy," she said. "I must admit I am surprised, but I do hope they'll be happy. Mind you, they've got to escape first. And Mr. Tug and your father won't allow that to happen easily, I can tell you." "They've already escaped," I said. "What?" Mum grabbed hold of me. "How? I mean, when?" "Just now, when you thought I was choking. Lancelot must have been hiding inside the teddy. He let down a sheet and they climbed out of the bedroom window, and I saw Granny go off with Lancelot." Mum had clamped one hand across her mouth in disbelief, but now she began to giggle. "Oh, that Lancelot, he's a devil. What will he think of next? To think that we carried Lancelot up to Granny ourselves. What a joke. Now the fat's hit the fire. I wonder what your dad will say. Not to mention Mr. Tug." At that very moment, bang, 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 there was a loud hammering on the front door. "I bet that's Mr. Tug. He's round here already. Oh dear, here we go." I wonder what kind of explosion Mr. Tug's going to have. Do you remember the explosions in, was it chapter 1 or chapter 2? I think it was chapter 1, wasn't it, his explosions? So I think he's going to probably have, I don't know, a level 3, level 4 explosion. I wonder who's going to answer the door, Mum or Dad. Do you think they'll find Granny and Lancelot? Oh, so many questions. I can't wait to read on tomorrow. Tomorrow's chapter is called We Have Burglars. So let's hope Mr. Tug's neighbourhood watch scheme works for the burglars. I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye.